This is Gene Monterostelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast recorded live to tape in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 395, originally aired January 30th, 2014, re-edited for October 14th, 2019. Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. Today we are going to talk about one of the most fundamental concepts behind the work that I've done for the last 5 to 8 years. I have been, as you know, focusing really hard on how we can use tapping to eliminate self-sabotage. And on a very base fundamental level, the reason why that we don't take action is there's a part of our system that's trying to keep us safe. And so this is a presentation from a number of years ago, as I've been cleaning up the podcast archive, which goes into that into great detail. And you can see how that kind of permeates through the way we think about things and how we take action. And so if you look through these 4 lenses, it's going to give you an opportunity to make it easier for you to tap and to clear those resistances so you can take action. In addition to these 4 ideas, I've created a 10-part guide that helps you to eliminate self-sabotage. You can get that by going to tappingqa.com, clicking on the big blue button. If you happen to be listening to this right now in the website, up in the right-hand corner on the top of that sidebar, you'll see a blue button there. And so basically, the 4 fundamentals that I'm sharing with you here in that 10-part guide would give you application for these 4 ideas. So conceptual stuff here, application there, combined, it's going to make it really easy for you to take action. So today what I want to do is I want to talk about the 4 reasons why we don't actually take action. The reasons that we don't take action are founded in 4 really simple things. And I want to go through those right now and talk a little bit how we can approach each one of them. So the 4 reasons why we don't take action are: we don't have a clear vision, we don't know how to do the task, doing the task is painful, and being successful at the task is painful. And in each of these 4 areas, it's possible that we can have a mechanical issue, a practical issue, or it's possible that we could have an emotional issue. And so I'm going to walk through the 4 of these, and then we'll talk really briefly how you can apply that when you're not taking the action that you want. So, number 1, you do not have a clear vision. When we don't have a clear vision of where we're going, it's really hard to take action because any step that we take is going to feel like it's not going to be a useful step because it's not going to be heading in a direction towards our goal because we don't know what our goal is. And so when there's a fogginess about where we are heading, it's really hard to take action because there's a part of us that doesn't want to waste that resource and energy of taking action towards something that isn't there. So when you're in a circumstance of not having vision, there can be 2 parts to that. Like I said, there can be a practical part of it where either you haven't sat down to create the vision or you don't know how to sit down and create the vision. You know, there are people who that's their gift. That's their genius. They say, oh, this is where we're going. And these are the 7 steps that we need to take between here and there. So if you're trying to do something, but you don't have a clear vision of what it's supposed to be or a clear vision of what the steps are, the first thing that I would look at is, do I know how to do that? Am I capable of doing that? Do I need to get help doing that? Now, there also can be an emotional component to this. It might be scary to create a vision because there might have been a time in the past where you created this really excellent, precise vision that you knew was exactly what you wanted. You got your hopes up and then something happened and you never got there. And so it became devastating because so clearly you knew what you wanted, but since you didn't get it, it created the level of pain that came along with that. And so you don't want to be in a circumstance where you're working towards that. So there could be a part of you that is preventing you from creating a clear vision, which is preventing you from taking action, but it's preventing you from having a clear vision because it's afraid. The last time I had clear vision, it ended in pain. So this time, if I have clear vision, it will end in pain. Therefore, I'm not going to have clear vision, which leads us to not taking action. Now, the second reason that we don't take action is we don't know how to do the steps. And I don't know about you, but there are few things I like less than looking stupid and being lost, where I know what the outcome is supposed to be, and for the life of me, I can't figure out the steps. And so if we don't know how to do something, it makes a great deal of sense that we're not going to step in and try because we don't want to look lost. We don't want to look foolish. And this is similar to the visioning problem we talked about in the last one, but it shows up in different ways. You know, if I have to build a website and I don't know how to build websites, the last thing I'm going to do is go fight around trying to create a website because I wouldn't even know where to begin. So again, when it comes to not knowing how to do something, there's a practical and there can be an emotional. So the practical is, I don't know how to do it, therefore I'm not going to take action. The emotional is, when we don't know how to do something, we can fear how it looks when we don't know how to do it, or we can fear how it looks when we ask for help. I don't want to ask for help because if I ask for help, they're going to see how incompetent I actually am. I don't want to ask for help because they look down on people who aren't self-starters. I don't want to ask for help because I don't like looking incomplete or incompetent. And so if you don't know how to do it, and there's this emotional penalty for asking for help or being seen not knowing how to do it, you're not going to take action either. So when we don't know how to do something, it's really easy for us not to take action. Now, the third reason that we don't take action is taking the action is painful in taking the action by itself. I'll give you an example. Tarring a roof on a hot summer day, that's a painful action to do. Doing math, and it's not something that's your strength, and it's a lot of work, and it's really, really exhausting. Standing up in front of a group of people and talking and dealing with all of the nerves. So those are mechanically painful reasons why it is to do something. There can also be the emotional reason that it's painful to do something. If I do this, I'm going to be judged. If I do this, they're going to say that my goal is foolish and I'm wasting my time and they're going to judge me. I'm going to pursue this and my friends are going to think I'm leaving them behind. And so it puts us into a circumstance where the taking of the action can be practically painful because it's a task that is no fun, or it can be emotionally painful because of how we are going to be perceived if we're doing that action. And if either of those two things exist, we're not going to take action. Now, the fourth reason that we don't take action is it's painful to be successful. And that might seem a little odd on the surface, but if you've spent any time at all in this self-care type world, you know how true this can be. That can happen in a number of fashions. If I am successful, it means that I have to continue to be this successful all the time. It took me a lot of work to be successful. That means I'm going to have to work hard all of the time to keep being successful. If I'm successful, this is now what everybody expects from me all the time. And so what happens is we put ourselves into a circumstance where not getting to success is the problem, but having the success is. And when we have that problem, it's going to prevent us from taking action because we don't want to deal with that pain. So you can see in all four of these areas, not having a clear vision, not knowing how to do something, it's painful to do it. It's painful to be successful at doing it. When we have any of these four things, we're not going to take action because there's a part of us that wants to prevent us from having to deal with the pain of any of these things. So the next time you have an action that you are not doing, it's really, really simple to walk through these four things and look if it's a practical issue or an emotional issue. And then you can bring in whatever resource you need to be successful. And a word of warning, it is possible that you could have a task that you're not taking that might show up in one of these areas, or it could show up in multiple of these areas. In the beginning, I'm not taking action because I don't have a clear vision. We do what we need to do, we get the clear vision. Now we feel really apprehensive because since it's such a new vision, we don't know how to do it. So it's possible that we're going to run into roadblocks at any of these 4 areas. But if you walk through them one at a time, what it's going to do is it's going to get you clear. You can see if it's a practical, you can see if it's an emotional thing. So you can see it is pretty straightforward in those 4 lenses and how you can look at things through a practical and an emotional way so that it's easier for you to take action. If you know someone in your life who could use that sort of framework to see how they are moving forward or how they are not, and the places that they're being stuck, please, please, please be our ambassador. Don't spam your inbox and send it to everybody in the world. But if you know 1 or 2 people who could use this, please pass it along. Because the way that people are most likely to find a new piece of content, be it a video, be it an audio, be it an article, is from a recommendation from a friend. Because 1, we're going to be recommended things from people we know that are good for us. And 2, we take it seriously. So if you know someone out there who you could share this with, please be our ambassador. Remember, our goal for this calendar year is to get 9 new tappers every single day as a community. If we do that, we'll add 3,000 new people tapping, and that will make a huge difference in all of our lives. As they show up healthier, that will ripple out and make it easier for us. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And remember, in podcasting parlance, subscribe is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. You can get this podcast absolutely free in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. You can even get it on your Alexa. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss an episode going forward. And our entire podcast archive can be found there with over 440 episodes. If you have a question, if you have a comment, I can always be reached. Gene, Gene, at tappingqna.com. If you're on the website, just click on that contact link. Or if you're one of the thousands of people who have downloaded the Tapping Q&A app, just click on that contact area. If you haven't downloaded the app, I'd encourage you to do so. You can get it in both the Apple and Android app stores. In addition to having access to the entire archive of audio on the website, if we have done a tap-along in one of those podcasts, the tap-along is also typed out in a script form. So if you click on the text, TEXT tab inside of the app, you have access to the scripts right there. So as you are navigating the world, if you need to tap on something, you have an entire library of tapping scripts and tap-along audios just sitting there on your smartphone. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli, Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli or Tapping Q&A.